Right there.
Hurry up. What is that? You have the weirdest shit ever.
Well, I was looking for a mask to wear, but after all of the stuff that we've been reviewing and reading and researching for our episode, literally this just explains me. I just wanted to fucking scream at all of the shit that is happening in our goddamn country. So yeah, so that's how I feel. She used
you don't need any mask.
She used to like fling backwards and scare people, but she broke. So now she just stands like.
God, that just made my life.
I'm gonna find a place I can put her in the house. I think she might look good in a corner somewhere, next to a plant, maybe. I'm not doing it. We'll see. Yeah. But anyway, yes.
Water her every time you water the plant.
Actually, yeah, maybe, yeah. So that's fun. Again, wear your masks, people. Even Donald Trump is telling people to do it now. It only took him 6 months to do it, to tell people to do it.
Out of nowhere, now he supports it.
Yeah, and he deserves a piece of candy because he also wore a mask at one point too. So it's
that one time.
Whoever's training Donald to be an adult human, that he gets a star and he gets a piece of candy. So, yeah, that's good.
Oh God.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Clearly, we know how I'm feeling. So.
You make my life. Other than that, everything has just gone to shit. The whole world is just going to shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
I don't know if it's the world. It's just us, the country, our country, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of sad. You never thought it would be good old US of A.
Yeah. People have very different definitions of what the US of A should be.
They really do. It's not what it used to be.
I question people's logic,
Yeah.
which I'm going to cover a little bit. So, welcome. This is episode 6, which means that we still like each other. So we're still going at this, and not many people have told us to shut the fuck up. So we're still going. This is good. This is fun. And I
have a feeling it's getting close to that, though.
No, I think maybe. I think so. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So thank you everyone for watching, and for watching our other episodes, for commenting, for liking, and I'm having fun. I may look like I'm losing my mind, but I'm having fun.
I am too.
Losing my mind though, but it's happening. It's good. Yeah.
I don't think you were ever fully there, so.
That's fair. That's yeah.
Oh God.
Losing my mind. I wanted to talk about how quickly and easily we'll call it a subset of people who initially were very terrified, and to the point where they were like stockpiling guns and donating to the NRA, all out of fear that the federal government at some point would be like illegally sending in troops to take over cities in some tyrannical manner, right? You know, and those same people are suddenly perfectly fine with and actually supportive of the federal government illegally sending in unidentified federal troops to take over and terrorize residents in cities in a tyrannical manner. It's like, what the hell, Second Amendment people? This is literally your chance. You have been waiting for this your entire life.
Right.
You have been living in fear of this. And this is what I need 12 arson or assault rifles and this and blah, you know, and because if that government comes in here, I've only mainly heard Southern people say that. That's all.
I was going to say, why did you bring in the Southern accent?
I'm just saying. But for all those people that see this happening, what say you now?
I'm sorry, I can't with all these stories.
I told you that
Gosh.
I'm very funny today, but apparently maybe I'm finding some. Now, again, when I say you've been preparing for this and living in fear for this moment, I'm not saying, again, we here at Politini with Dan and Meg, much to Meg's dismay, do not condone violence of any kind. But I do find it oddly intriguing that all of these people who were suddenly vocal and spending all of their lives justifying stockpiling weapons and building bunkers are suddenly so silent or supportive of exactly what they've been speaking out against their entire lives. Where's the outrage? Is it because these people don't look like you? Or maybe they're the libs, and so it's okay if they get kidnapped? I'm not saying arrested because they're not arrested. People of color? Is that why there's no outrage?
They don't agree with the movement, so it's straight out, we don't agree with the movement, so it's okay. Take them, do what you want with them. And it's like, aren't you supposed to want to protect everybody? Aren't you supposed to? Wait, if they come for them, who's next? You.
Defend our rights, just not your rights.
Yeah.
It's like freedom of religion, but not your religion, just mine. That's it.
Very American.
All those people, we are seeing your true colors right now. So what is happening? I did mention that, the federal government is sending in, I will use the word troops loosely because we don't know who these people are. But we've seen and heard complaints, namely from the Attorney General of Oregon, who basically says that there are horror stories of peaceful people, protesters, people just walking down a street, being kidnapped, thrown into, for all they know, someone's random minivan, because it's not a federal vehicle or a police car, it's just a minivan, being blindfolded, handcuffed, and just held for 2 hours and then randomly let go.
So it's just a show of force, but not actually doing anything.
Force, intimidation, lawlessness. Speaking of lawlessness, people keep hiding behind this whole law and order curtain, or saying like these mayors need to govern their cities. But that's not the case. Are we seeing peaceful protests? Yes. Are they demanding we remove racist, treasonous statues from public land? Sure. And we should, because they're fucking racist and goddamn traitors to our country.
Yes.
Why are we symbolizing them? And I have to say, there was a recent protest in Chicago to remove a Christopher Columbus statue. Again, a fucking racist who killed a lot of people who were native to this land. And some people infiltrated that protest and started throwing frozen water bottles and fireworks at the CPD. Yeah. Let me repeat that. There were people who infiltrated the protest to cause chaos and intentionally harm members of the police department. The infiltrators did that, not the protesters. So we're going back to episode 1, and if you didn't watch it, it's beautiful. It's flawless. There were no mistakes, no nothing. It was a great dry run. Don't blame the protesters for the individuals who are trying to come in and derail the entire movement and cause chaos and hurt people. Just don't stop it right now. And another thing, all these people.
Oh, you had the finger out and everything. It's gonna be nutty.
I am fired up right now. And all these people who are saying they need to govern their cities, it kind of, to me, seems like their definition of govern is more of you need to shut down and silence the voices of the oppressed right now so I can go back to normal, rather than why don't we come together as a community? This is my definition of govern. Get people together as a community, discuss the root causes of the problem, systemic racism, hatred, things of that sort. And let's become a better community together. Right?
United States of America, everybody come together.
No, none of this let's go back to normal, because normal wasn't working. It may have worked for certain people, but clearly it wasn't working for everybody.
Absolutely.
And so and again, going back to these idiots and the scumbags who threw combustibles, they are that. They are just scum. And I just want to remind you, back to episode 1, a lot of times those people are actually white supremacists like the Boogaloo Boys going in to just cause absolute chaos, right? And so again, not the protesters. So
Yep.
let the protesters protest. And if you see federal agents abducting peaceful protesters, you should probably be outraged about that. I mean, even Fox News is calling this illegal invasion of our street shit out, right? And I'm not talking
it's against everything we are as a country.
Yeah, right. So even Fox News is like, hey guys, and it's actually a contributor to Fox News. It's not my favorite trust fund baby Tucker or the racist asshat that is Sean Hannity, but Andrew Napolitano, who is a judge, I guess. Fox News calls him a judge. He probably is. I don't know. But they take his advice. So he literally said the federal government cannot put troops on the streets without invitation of the governor or state legislature. That's not only federal law, it's in the fucking Constitution.
Yeah.
He didn't say fucking, I added that because it's in the fucking Constitution. Which we all know Donald Trump has not read because too many words, not enough pictures. Cool. So for all of those law and order people, clearly it's not a law and order thing. It's against federal law, and it's in the Constitution that you can't do that.
No.
Read it sometimes.
I have.
So have I. I haven't done it in a while. Maybe we should read it.
We could have a whole episode of us just reading the Constitution to people.
It'll be like 3 hours long. I'm a very slow reader, and I do need pictures. I know I make fun of Trump about it all the time, but I do need pictures.
I know, I'm on his page too. If there's no pictures, I'm not reading it.
Yeah. So then they have the people, besides the law and order people, sorry, I'm parched. You have these people that are saying, oh, well, someone needs to go in there and stop all this violence. And I'm like, really? Have you seen any of the videos other than what they're showing you on Fox News? Maybe venture away from that for some actual news at some point. These goons are just going up to random people and hitting them with batons and pepper spraying them. Like in Portland, they literally had, they're called the Wall of Moms. So moms went out to form a wall between these goons and protesters. They pepper sprayed moms. They're fucking pepper spraying moms. And they literally have moms on their shirt. So they're not, there's no questioning it. That's a mom that you're pepper spraying right now.
Right.
And also a Navy veteran at one of these things said he went up to these goons and tried to talk to them. He's like, I thought maybe some of them would be veterans. Again, we don't know who these people are.
Right.
So if I go up and he was wearing a Navy a vet shirt, and goes up and tries to talk to him, they broke his hand and then pepper sprayed him. This guy's in his 50s. He's a veteran. He literally fought for the free speech that they're impeding on right now.
Yeah, everything he stands for. He fought for that.
He said it felt like flaming gasoline was being poured over his head when they pepper sprayed him. So for everybody who's like, we need to support our vets, maybe we shouldn't break their hands and pepper spray them when they're enacting the free speech that they fought so hard to protect.
Yeah.
This is where I'm questioning people's logic and definitions of what America should be. So yeah, we need to stop the violence. But what we're seeing is sending in armed, untrained police, again, term used loosely, wearing fatigues with no labels, no nothing of who, how
don't identify themselves, absolutely nothing.
Right. How am I doing on my job? Please call this 800 number. There's none of those things. Without any knowledge or consent of the local police or local authorities, we're finding it's actually causing more violence. And so for people who are saying Donald Trump is doing this to stop the violence, no, he's doing it to cause more violence, enhance the racial tensions, and to get us to stop talking about his epic failures like the coronavirus, his corruption just in general, I would say, Russian bounties, we're not even talking about that anymore.
That is mind-blowing. Where has that story gone?
Right. It's like it was last year. And so Napolitano basically ends with saying there's no reason to disturb these peaceful people, throwing them into vans and taking them away for 2 hours. When there are people who are walking around with baseball bats causing actual destruction, yet somehow they're still allowed to cause all the destruction.
Right. Like, why are they not being taken out?
Why indeed? So that's it. In general, Donald Trump is sending in federal agents with zero accountability, literally kidnapping people. They're not arresting. Nobody's being read their rights. Nobody's being said that they have a right to an attorney. And these law and order, you can't trust the government people are applauding all of it and letting it happen. Not in our city though. Auntie Lori, she shot that down. She said she's not going to allow that. And she said she's got a lot of tools that she's going to use. I think that's a lesbian thing.
Oh yeah, we all have tool belts. We keep all of our hammer, our drills,
good. Okay.
socket wrench,
Yeah.
Phillips head screwdriver, flathead. We have all those.
And flannel?
Oh God, I love me a good flannel.
Okay, good, perfect. But in all seriousness, and I know that she is serious about this, she's going to try her damnedest to stop this. I don't know if she will be able to, because what we found currently as our checks and balances in our country are broken. And when Donald Trump is no longer president, which hope is happening soon.
She has made a huge statement. She has stepped up and has pushed back against the government, saying that she welcomes the government coming in and assisting us in, violence in certain neighborhoods and trying to fix communities. Everybody that's actually educated, trained in assisting, not just having these federal agents come in and just take people off the street. And they're not even taking out the people that are causing the mayhem. So she said she welcomes them, and she's hoping that the government will actually send people to help, but not these federal agents to just take people off the street.
And what was she doing? She was telling them they can come in. They weren't just coming in, right? Like, we welcome the help if you're here to help. So I just find the hypocrisy of people who used to be all about states' rights and individual rights and things of that sort are just letting the federal government come in and take over the streets. Donald Trump doesn't even pay taxes to build streets, to have streets laid down, right? Or maybe he does. I don't know. We haven't seen his taxes. Where are your taxes, Donnie? What are you hiding, Donnie? Like, but speaking of what, I'm losing it. I'm having a lot of fun, but I do think as more of these progress, my mental capacity is just going out the window. But speaking of all of the things that Donnie is trying to hide, shall we dive into your topic, my dear?
Disclaimer, I do want to throw this out there, since you always throw a disclaimer on me. We don't know, whatsoever if our government is involved in the topic that I'm going to talk about in any way. So I do want to throw that out there. However, it is highly suspicious. So I want to talk about on July 19th, a federal judge, Esther Salas, who was the intended target of a planned attack where a suspect, who we now know as Roy Den Hollander, which is very odd because it is a white male subject with 3 names who seems to be an assassin, arrived at Judge Salas's home dressed as a FedEx delivery driver. And he approached her front door, and when her 20-year-old son answered and her husband was just behind, they both were immediately shot. Her son, Daniel, unfortunately, he died at the scene from a gunshot wound to the heart. And then her husband, Mark, he was taken to the hospital with multiple gunshot wounds. He underwent 2 surgeries now, and thankfully he made it through, but he's still in critical but stable condition. Fortunately, Salas, being the intended target, she was not physically harmed, but I can't honestly imagine what they as a family are going through with the loss of their son, who just had so much potential. I mean, he had a whole life ahead of him. He was just about ready to start his junior year of college, and he wanted to become a lawyer just like both of his parents, and now he'll never get that chance. I do want to talk about just a little backstory on Judge Esther Salas, and then kind of circle around on her connection to the man who murdered her son and attempted to murder her husband, and then fled the scene and took his own life. Judge Esther Salas is the first Hispanic woman to serve as a United States magistrate judge and as a U.S. district judge in the District of New Jersey. She presides over hundreds of cases each year and has had a few high-profile cases, from one involving the Real Housewives of New Jersey stars to different immigration cases to convicting a leader of the Southside Cartel street gang to 45 years in prison, to her actual newest case, which is she was assigned to preside over the class action lawsuit against Deutsche Bank. And everybody knows that we covered a few things about Deutsche Bank.
They're very shady people.
She was assigned this case on July 15th, which just happened to be 4 days before Roy Den Hollander came to her home, like in an attempt to murder her. And the lawsuit alleges that Deutsche Bank had failed to properly monitor customers that the bank like itself had deemed to be this high risk for the customers included, which was Jeffrey Epstein, Danske Bank in Estonia, and then this FBME Bank, which Jeffrey Epstein.
So she was assigned this case, which among other shady people, Jeffrey Epstein was involved with, or somewhat of a topic.
Yes.
So digging was going to be happening into Jeffrey Epstein and his associates.
Yep.
And
that's like my first thing is just like.
And then essentially a hit is put out.
Yes.
Allegedly. And Deutsche Bank has laundered money for many mobsters in Europe and things of that sort in general. So I feel like this is not okay. Go.
No, and if people followed along in the videos, they would know more about Deutsche Bank. So maybe circle back. I know, what everybody is thinking. First, that she's a judge and her husband is this lawyer, so it could be anybody from any case that she's ever presided over that did this. Second, it could be related to Deutsche Bank and Jeffrey Epstein. And then third, it really could just be this crazy, unhinged Roy Den Hollander, who now is not related in any way to Deutsche Bank and Jeffrey Epstein. Now, eventually, I'm going to come back to all three of those, 1, 2, and 3. Right now, Roy Hollander is the primary suspect, and when they found him, he was in a FedEx uniform in his vehicle where it appeared he died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He also had an empty box addressed to Judge Salas and a picture of another female judge with her name written down, and is suspected in another murder on July 11th, where a men's rights lawyer was murdered in San Bernardino, California, by someone in a FedEx uniform that approached this male attorney's door, and when the attorney answered the front door, he was shot and killed. So the same style. So Hollander, he's a 72-year-old lawyer who had a case where Judge Salas was the judge in a 2018 ruling. Salas actually allowed the case to proceed. Like, he thought the case was going to be dead. She allowed it to proceed, which was actually a big win for him. A lot of people said this case, like, he was so upset about this case, but she allowed it to go on. So in turn, it was big for him. But in his online writings, he criticized that Judge Salas for, not moving this case along fast enough. But yet it benefited him. So I don't know, it just doesn't make sense. In July 2019, a year ago, he actually parted from the case, claiming that he was terminally ill. And the case is still going on to this day. So there's never even been a judgment in that case. He was really big into men's rights and politics and appeared in the news like a few times over the years. He filed a lawsuit in Manhattan accusing several reporters of conspiring together in misleading news reports against Donald Trump. And then he was this huge anti-feminist who was completely off his rocker and fought against ladies' nights at bars and women's studies classes and pretty much every single thing that was anti-woman. Like, he
sounds like a really stand-up guy.
Yeah, right. He would write these online stories about how he hated women, and some of these stories were seriously over 1,000 pages, like completely just off his rocker. And one of the things that he actually back in 2008, he told the New York Times that he had this anger towards feminists, and it all stemmed from his bitter divorce from a woman who he actually married, who was from Russia.
Oh, Russia? We know them too.
Yeah, and a lot of people would just be like, oh, okay, so she happens to be from Russia. Who cares? That's, not connected. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't know. There's a little bit more. It's not just that she's from Russia. He also spent time in Russia, and according to his online resume, he worked in Moscow for the security and investigations firm named Kroll between 1999 and 2000. And then he had these different online accounts where he shared a lot of details about his ex-wife, who he said was a Russian prostitute, and he was unaware at the time that she was. And then he had shared her sex tapes and even some of his writings. He would talk in the third person about himself. He would talk in the third person. And he claimed to have worked with GRU agents, was involved in Russia's mafia sex ring in Moscow, Cyprus, Mexico City, and New York. My opinion is completely based off of everything I've read about him and going back to, remember that 1, 2, and 3?
Mm-hmm.
Going back to adding 2 and 3 together, that is related to Deutsche Bank, Jeffrey Epstein, and it was Roy Hollander who has these odd ties to Russia, GRU, sex rings. It just, everything fucking combined, like everything. And I know always, you know, I do not support conspiracy theories. I follow conspiracy theories because I love to pick them apart at the seams. Like, I love to find the facts. But this one just doesn't seem to be this huge conspiracy theory that everybody thinks it is. It's not that far-fetched that this batshit crazy dude was used to seriously send Judge Salas a message. Like, if he truly despised her and hated women, then why would he drive 2 hours to kill her and only kill her son and injure her husband, and then leave the scene to return home to kill himself? Like, why wouldn't he have gone in the house and kill her? Like, she was in the basement and she came running up when she heard the shots. And it wasn't like it was in the middle of the night. He didn't need to break into the house. You know, nobody spooked him away. He literally showed up at the house. What he thought, he killed the 2 males that answered the door, and then never went in to kill her. The person who he was going to kill, it had nothing to do with the husband. Her name was on the package and everything. He went there for her and didn't kill her and then left. And why kill a male lawyer who's a men's rights attorney, stands for everything that you believe in, but not this female Latino judge that he hated so much and that he went to kill? Like, I don't believe that we'll ever fully know the story, but literally, come on, because there's so many keywords that just links everything together. Russia, sex ring, GRU, New York City, Mexico City, Judge Salas, Deutsche Bank, murder, Jeffrey Epstein, who did not kill himself. And it just seems that everyone involved with Deutsche Bank and Epstein is either coming up dead or having this message sent to them. It's fucking mind-blowing. Like, I need a drink because this shit it's too deep. And I'm seriously, I just want everyone to say some prayers to Ghislaine Maxwell so that she could, like, share, not that we want to keep her alive, just enough to get the fucking truth from her, to give these victims, survivors, to give them some peace of mind. Like, Ghislaine needs to be able to tell the truth and just give some sort of justice. Like, literally, the president responded when asked about her. He wishes her well.
Now, you covered her very well in the last episode. And so we know all of the horrific things that she's done and the horrific things that she's facilitated. So it is really heartwarming that the president wishes her well.
Right? Like, literally a child sex trafficker.
Well, based on what we are alleged to know about Donald Trump, he may or may not have participated in some of those very actions or events. So, you know, maybe he thinks that she's a very nice woman. You know, it's one of the few women that he likes, which, given her track record, I can see why. So I think that we need her to stay around and tell, because I know we pick on Donald Trump a lot because he's an idiot, but there are a lot more people involved that are very high up, and that's why there are so many people going to such great lengths to stop stories like this from coming out or being found out.
Right. It's literally like, who's next? What's next? What's going to happen?
Yeah, right.
Like, we don't even have an end to the story because obviously it's still going on, but it's scary.
It's all eerily connected in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
We can safely say that. Wow. Yeah.
It's deep. That's all I got.
I'm going to drink more because,
I'm
more
probably
than
done.
yeah. Well, thanks for that. And for folks, we're going to start splitting out the Trump Swamp Spotlight. So these episodes are a little bit shorter because, we don't want to lose you, even though we are so entertaining and funny that there's no way we could lose your attention. Maybe it's more easily digestible if there are little shorter snippets of things in that sort.
Yeah. We want to keep your attention. We don't want to drive you away.
Yeah. So stay tuned for that. And maybe if Donald Trump feels the need to send some federal troops into Chicago, maybe we'll be coming at you Facebook Live from the front lines of the protests. So
yeah, we will.
These are our streets. Donald, you don't pay taxes, so you don't pay for streets.
No.
So you can't.
We own these streets.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So thanks for watching, everybody. Be safe. Wear your mask.
You. Bye. Wait. I thought you were going to hijack my bye last time.
No.
No? Well, bye.
Farewell.
Cheers.